Looking back at some of my older videos, there are a lot of mods that I technically covered, but due to a lack of a mic at the time, I only quickly reviewed during my mod rankings. While the SRB2 forums are down, I'm going to go over some of these for a second time, to see whether my opinion on these mods have soured or improved. And to start off, we're going to be covering the very first mod I ever looked at, Maimy, the Rosy Robot. Beginning with her moveset, I'm quite surprised at just how well Maimy's abilities hold up. I mostly expected to look back at the mod and see it in a worse light due to greater experience with mods, especially because it isn't a particularly complex moveset, but I genuinely have a newfound respect for it. After going through several mods that are very complicated to play at a decent level as, whether that is because of a high number of possible commands or just because of difficult to use moves, I like how simple Maimy is in comparison. She only has two abilities, and they're pretty much the perfect synthesis of Amy's and Metal Sonic's movesets, the two characters she is supposed to be a combination of. Replacing her spin, she has a mace that she can swing as a hammer, and replacing her double jump, she has a chargeable rocket boost. The mace is pretty obviously just a more powerful version of Amy's hammer, able to smash walls, break spikes, and kill enemies, and if held, provide an upwards boost. This is really good, as it allows you to keep up your momentum very easily while covering gaps that would be likely too large for a standard jump. It took me a while to recognise, but the decision of whether it simply hits the ground or boosts you upwards is based off how long you hold down the input, which also gives a subtle level of versatility to the ability in case you want to use it without launching. It also combos beautifully into a rocket boost, giving Maimy absolutely ludicrous levels of verticality without reducing your momentum in the slightest. The fact that the boost is chargeable also gives a really good sense of feedback, and I am slightly surprised at just how natural the height increase is. No matter how long I held down the input, the boost always felt exactly proportional to how long I charged it, which can sometimes be quite rare with some controllable inputs. I also like how forgiving the boost is in terms of how much it drops your momentum, as Maimy has dash mode. Therefore, the fact that she has such a smooth, flowing moveset is very important, as it is what dictates whether you get to stay at the exhilarating pace of dash mode, or fall back into a more mundane speed. The flowing moveset also means that dash mode is implemented much more naturally than most mods, which often simply chuck it in without thinking how it affects the rest of the moveset, whether the moveset accommodates with travelling at such high speeds. The dash mode is also great because it allows Maimy to be competitive with speed running. In fact, I'd say that Maimy is probably one of the best mods to use to start practicing speed running, as he can reach extreme speeds comparatively easily, and is fairly forgiving in comparison to most other mods. Maimy is supposedly based off a 2017 webcomic by Ztoon, although I can't find a specific comic. Whatever the case is, I like how Maimy is pretty clearly a combination of Amy and Metal Sonic, while still being her own character. A lot of Metal Sonic style OCs tend to just be overly looking evil versions of Sonic's friends, and while that could be a symptom of how they're usually supposed to be some roboticized version of one, it's quite refreshing to see a more neutral take on the concept. The cyan colour scheme is also a nice nod how Maimy is the midpoint between the two characters, as it is the literal midpoint of their two dominant colours. The actual in-game sprites also serve the design pretty well, mostly being unique, or at least so highly edited that the original sprites are mostly unrecognisable. The mace ball she wields is pretty comically oversized, although I somewhat expect that is the intent. During the character ranking video, I claimed that Maimy was a 10 out of 10. While that may seem like a strangely high score for such a simple mod, I think that simplicity actually serves the mod very well. It is a great first mod to start off with, a great character to start practicing speedrunning, and overall, it is one of the best mods I have so far played. I'm not changing that 10 out of 10 in any way. Over the next few months, uploads are going to be infrequent, if appearing at all. I have a lot of very important tests until the end of June, and I should really be doing revision for them instead of writing scripts for SRB2 mod reviews. While those by themselves would likely just make videos sparser, my Adobe student discount is coming to an end at the start of May. Annoyingly, I am still undeniably a student, but this date comes too early for me to give any evidence for my next enrollment, but too late for my current enrollment to be applicable. Therefore, I can't edit videos or create thumbnails until I get actual paperwork for the next term, which will probably be around August to September. In other words, a very long break. I'm trying to argue the Adobe case, but in the scenario that I can't fix it, this will be the last video until then, Sucks, I know. In that time, I'll still be writing scripts and playing with more new mods, but I won't be able to get any further in the creative process. A very downer note to end on, but I hope you still enjoyed the video, and so.